notes on the G chat, right?
Yep, and I sent notes back.
Awesome.
I started a little later this evening, but got them all done.
Well, we didn't have a whole lot of research to have to do, really.
True. Let's see. Let me go ahead and tweet this out, too. Make sure people know we are live and send them the old linkaroo. PTM 161 is live. Come join us.
Come as you are, as you were, as I want you to be. I know this is loud, so hopefully there's not an echo before I can get mute. There we go.
And tweet it out. There we go.
Except for the phone's volume is not on mute.
All right.
God damn it.
Now we just sit and wait.
Share.
Very strategically didn't do this on the evening of football tomorrow. So
strategically for like personal, like I want to watch the football game. Right. Fuck this podcast. Sorry. Started off with a bang. I forgot we were recording for a second because I'm not looking at it.
Yeah.
Apologies for the F-bomb off the top of the show, ladies and gentlemen. This portion of the show is not on iTunes.
That's right,
so
Roger.
You're not governed as long as we don't
throw ball tomorrow.
As long as we don't. Yes, we get hand egg.
Hand
egg tomorrow.
Good times. Good evening to you, Mr. Jumpy Bob. Good to see y'all again. We're excited to get going. It's gonna be fun. This is gonna be one of those
scatterbomb this on
beforehand. I think it's gonna be like a 15-minute show, and then we're absolutely gonna get into the ditch. Actually, I've got a good story. And Brandon, did you listen to Lap Traffic already?
Oh, hell yeah. Of course I have. 10 minutes after it posted.
So he did a fantastic weekend rundown. I was like, dude, you're way too sober if you remember all that.
He was evidently. We've got to work on that. Yeah. I was like, I don't remember that happening.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't supposed to.
Right?
Like that. Huh? Humna.
Let's see, actually,
I
forgot to put him in here as something would happen. I took some notes. I just want to make sure that
they snuck their way in.
Yeah, that we have these in there. I
have gone through like the progression of music. I don't know. I just said like "Come as You Are," like I'm singing Nirvana.
I don't know where you're going with all this, but awesome.
I have no idea where I'm going with it either. But I was like singing Taylor Swift earlier. And then I got to that, like, who sang that song? What if God was one of us?
I know. Here's the thing. I know the music video, right? Because that's back when you watch music videos on TV. Like she had,
it was a big deal.
Curly blonde hair with the nose ring and all that. What was her
that?
Name?
Jewel?
No. What if God was one of us? That is Joan Osborne.
Oh, my goodness.
And there's the picture of her, curly blonde hair with the nose ring. I at least got that.
Wow. You were dialed in. I think you thought she was cute.
No, that was the thing. She was ugly as sin.
Oh, I didn't have a frame of reference.
It's terrible.
Oh, my God. That is hilarious, actually.
Joan Osborne. Roger got it. Oh, man. We ought to be recording some of this. Oh, who knows? Text. So we have we're gonna have to like reintroduce the Strange with Stang now, huh?
Yeah. So she finally changed her name.
Ditch with DeGilio.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to come up with something. I mean, it sounds fun, but we might have to come up with something different.
Disco Raj knows his music. I love it. Nice work. See, and I'm the guy. I'm typically the one who knows the music, but boy, you want to bring up a song I haven't heard in 20 years, like Sherwin said. Yeah, I hated that song too, and she was ugly. Why do I know anything about it?
I liked the song for whatever reason, nothing to do with like religion.
Yeah,
I just did.
Digs with DeGilio. That's possible. We'll keep
Digs with DeGilio.
We'll keep running with stuff. I don't know. Anyway, well.
Yeah, we might just run with, like, something we make up, and then we still let her create the question.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Strange with Staying was just too perfect. Like, it was a perfect fit.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's get the theme song up so I can at least start getting ready for that. There's the theme song. I get to blow the horn tonight. I'm so excited.
Grandpa fart horn.
Yes, sir. Oh, it's the PTM term of endearment. If you get the foghorn,
foghorn,
something good happens.
Leghorn.
I say.
I say, boy. I say.
Well, I never.
Boy, I never.
That was a fun episode when we were doing all that crap. Anyway, I'm ready to roll. You ready to roll?
Goodness, you populated some stuff. We're like reading a little bit, teleprompter style.
Oh, I was trying to.
It's all good. Yeah. You're trying to like get all Brandon on this thing. I told him.
No, we had like.
I said we have 123 pages for 161 episodes, and he looked at me like.
Oh yeah, he was sitting here when you told him that.
Deer in
and he busted out laughing right after that. Yeah. So yeah, I have like 3/4 of a page of notes today instead of the usual half page. What are we looking at?
Those are our mixer opportunities.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to drink all your beam. Well, I'm gonna leave this.
No, drink all the beam.
I'm gonna leave this bottle with you anyway, so it's all good. Plus,
yeah.
we got all them airplane bottles.
Yeah, well, there's stuff galore.
Welcome back into the fold, Jeffrey Whitler.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna need some more airplane bottles. Whenever you get a chance,
Yeah, anytime.
It's like, whenever you get a chance.
If whatever you don't drink,
whatever.
Yeah, I'm like,
that's happening.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just about to pour into the rest of this.
Is not.
Yeah.
That's how that's gonna go. That's probably not even enough. But it's fine.
All right. You ready to do this? Just say yes and let's
yes,
move
I'm
on.
ready to go.
Okay. Just say yes and we'll move on. I love it. All right. It's just us tonight, y'all. So here we go. Recording now. Welcome, y'all! Your turn.
I tell you what.
That's right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 161. It's Wednesday, September 5th, 2018. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace. I'm joined in the PTM Podcast studio with Pregame Engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
I tell you what, we got a lot on our plate. We're starting on a Wednesday this week because we got stuff tomorrow. We were working on getting some guys on, but they're covering dirt racing, which is cool. I mean, we know our fans love that.
Yeah.
And then we're trying to encourage everybody to get involved in that dirt racing business. So, Indy and somewhere in Oregon, we got friends. They covering stuff.
Well, before we get to all that stuff, you'll know what the deal is. This podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. You go to patreon.com/PTM. Join the What You Drink Club for as little as $1 a month. Get that free koozie. Best part is every cent in 2017 or 2017. What year is this? 2018.
I think it's 18, actually.
We're donating to sponsored driver. It says 2018 in front of me. I just said it wrong.
You just said it wrong.
This is going to get worse, y'all. So join the PTM Posse today. Be a part of the sport you love. This week's show is brought to you by our official sponsors at the $5 and up per month level. That's Laura Henshaw, Aaron Bearden, Robert Keplinger, Tony Salt, Colby McClay, Eric Kepner, Ryan Kiefer, Mary Levesque, Patrick Cleary, Jeff Brown, Brendan Crowd, Kathleen McDonald, Stacey Wright, Brandon Carl, Billy Workman, Rika Porter, Jumpy Bob and Les Miller, Jason Rod, Tommy Witt, Mark Wiley, and Julie Bosley. Woo! Try to pull it back out.
That is an absolute mouthful. But as Kathleen, KHI fan, said earlier today on the old tweeter, she thinks you need more names to read.
Well, maybe we need to.
You're phoning it in, sir.
Oh,
kind sir.
Oh, well, we need to run a little.
Easy.
We need to. Okay, well.
So we got to encourage
challenge
our
me.
viewer/listenership.
Yeah.
To get on over to that patreon.com/PETM. And maybe you just give us the $1 a month. It's only $12 out your pocket, and you will get an opportunity to see some young buck or gal run a race car with the PETM sticker on it, and you can feel all the pride that comes with having helped do that.
Absolutely. And we'll make sure the driver follows you back. We'll make sure to get updates and all the rest of that. That's so much fun last year with Jensen Jorgensen, and looking forward to doing it again this year. With that, Sherwin, you know how we start this thing because it's just you and me tonight. We had multiple people. You know what? When you ask somebody, because we had to do this late. I mean, it was actually, I say late. Sherwin was texting people on our drive back from Darlington saying, "Hey, you want to do the podcast? You want to do the podcast?" And we knew we wanted to do it Wednesday. And evidently Wednesday night is when everybody does stuff in NASCAR. And then Thursday is when everybody's free to come on our show. So, but we didn't want to do tomorrow because, I mean, football.
Well, personal interest.
Right? Falcons
at the Eagles.
That's right. So we're going to be watching that tomorrow and not podcasting. So with that, it's just us two. Sherwin, what are we drinking on tonight?
Well, over here in my travel Zaxby's cup, as it turns out, these styrofoam cups, kids, if you're listening at home, you're not hearing this.
Oh, this is a bad advice segment?
This is a quick bad advice segment. If you're an adult and you're taking a Lyft ride or some other ride share that you are using, you can get one of these styrofoam cups from Zaxby's or Chick-fil-A and make you a drink, and nobody is the wiser.
So that's almost more like a life hack, really. Not even bad advice. It's life
not
hack.
bad. Yeah, I don't think it's bad advice if you're old enough to be doing it.
Yeah,
it's just a life hack.
Yeah, that's how to flask an Uber ride.
So this is bourbon and ginger beer. One of my staples.
Right,
tasty, tangy.
Right. So I got the old Jim Beam and Coca-Rooney.
Hold on, I got
Miller Lite, and Sherwin has drum roll here.
Well, we're by ourselves, so we have nobody to embarrass. But ourselves, right?
Right.
Or for whatever reason, we decide to embarrass ourselves.
Did you bring Jaeger?
No.
That'd be embarrassing.
No. I brought the G13 strain
of
420.
Okay. I have not had this one yet.
There's an entire culture of people that like a particular kind of plant that this is targeted towards.
Okay. Well,
so these are going to be tasty, and they're going to be they're going to
be sticky, icky.
They're going to have a little odor to them, as it turns out. So,
am I going to pass my drug test tomorrow?
Yes, you are. This is
Sweet.
There is no transfer of any of the things that the legality aspect of the situation might.
Right. I'm in.
Where'd
our bottle opener go?
I don't know. Somebody ran off with it.
Dude, yeah.
I can get mine out of my book bag.
All right, the house cleaner came, and every time they do,
right over here.
Here's the thing, y'all. If I'm not. I probably sound like some stuck-up dude, like, oh, the house cleaner, But it's like once you have one, you'll never not have one. I could be dirt poor, and I'm gonna have a house cleaner come in and wash my dirt, Because
just like mop your dirt floor, just kind of push dirt around
just so I don't have to.
Just sweep the dirt a little bit.
Once you have it,
the hay off of the dirt.
You will not have it, I promise you. And it's, oh my gosh, it stinks like herb in here already.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
There's no cop that would come in this room and believe we're not holding right now. Just saying.
Yep, that has. I have no idea what that stuff smells or tastes like. But
this is my first time. There's a skunk guy in here.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh, woo, goodness. All right, Sherwin. Let's get her kicked off here.
Get the notes up, so I don't even know what's going on. Got a little distracted there.
Darlington, dude. Darlington. How awesome was that?
I'm telling you what. We talk about bucket list stuff all the time. Mm-hmm. We talk about how we had like the coolest experience at Martinsville ever, kind of like if you take away the fan part of it, where our race car driver didn't really have a great day. Darlington is a different animal, y'all. It's like, this is the thing about racing. There are probably at least 6 or 8 of these tracks that are just their own thing. Darlington being the oldest super speedway in the sport, in a sport where they're still running dirt races when Darlington popped up. If you're looking to check a major bucket list, if you're like, I can only go to one race this year and I don't care where it is. Obviously, if you're like in Juneau, Alaska, Darlington's probably a challenge, right? But if you're anywhere within a reasonable amount of driving or flying, you can fly into Columbia, rent a car, and you'll be there in less than 2 hours.
Or you can fly into Columbia, and the PTM
and we'll
posse
pick you
will
up.
Come pick you up.
And we'll bring you a tent.
I've seen us do it.
I've seen us do it as well. We're going to talk about that because we did that this past weekend with a friend of ours from up north. Darlington is just, it's got so many different things that just make it different. Like you get in the track and you're like, well, this feels really old school. Whereas like Bristol, you get in and they go, I cannot believe I'm in a football stadium that holds potentially 165,000 people. And then Martinsville's kind of like, well, there's a train right over there just running down the backstretch during the race.
Yeah.
It's all the things.
Dude, the other thing is that the facilities there are so great. It's there's Bojangles everywhere because Bojangles Southern 500. So you can get you some bow time, and we partook multiple times. But I would say that of all the places we go to, Darlington's or the campground we stay at is the closest to the track of any campground that we stay at.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
That's probably fair.
Like it's super close. You walk down to the end of it, then you walk down that little road, and you're there.
It's barely a 10-minute walk.
Barely, yeah.
And if you get there early enough on like Thursday afternoon, if you're one of those types, you can camp so close it's a 5-minute walk.
Yeah. So really close to camp. And the campground started filling in. Let's talk about the crowd for a second. How about that?
Yeah,
that's
let's
the
take
most
let's
filled
have a
in
moment.
I've ever seen. Maybe at a track in 10 years. Making you think?
So yeah, you're absolutely making me think. I want to say I've always been, like, relatively speaking, because it's not the only race we go to. We see a lot of different races during the year. I want to say I've always sort of been impressed with Darlington's attendance. I was very impressed.
That was really
this
cool.
Weekend's Darlington.
Yeah.
Darlington attendance. Let me have another drink, y'all.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts about that was so there was that little bit of lightning. I mean, PTM came, so we had the lightning, and I appreciate Brandon. So Brandon from Lap Traffic who joined us, and Brandon said on his show that he is the umbrella to the PTM curse, which I think is hilarious.
Perhaps
because he's 2-0. With us, with both of us, Eldora and now here. And so there was some lightning off in the distance, and they were telling people in the stands to, hey, just as precautionary, blah, 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 covering their butts, making sure that they say the right things, to say, hey, we're asking everybody to leave the stands. And the crowd was so big at that point, you couldn't even have ushers come in and tell everybody to leave. They just, you get your ass whooped is what happened. So the crowd just started doing the wave, like, hey, we're bored and we ain't leaving. We're doing the wave. Watch this. So I liked that the crowd was not only defiant, but flamboyantly defiant. We're not leaving. We're going to do the wave.
I don't think one single person got up out of their seat after like the 7th. We've got lightning in the area. We please like you to take shelter, and we're like that when we walk down the metal stairs, the other stuff to stand on is also metal.
Yeah, everything's metal.
So
we're all screwed here.
I'm like, there's tall things all around us that should be grounded by code. That's what the lightning is going to hit.
Yeah, we're good there. Let's talk about the campground. How about that? Started filling in by Saturday, and even on Sunday it was filling in even more. Campground was, I would say, as full as it was the first time we went. Excuse me, 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, 2011, our first trip down there. I would say so. I would definitely say that the campground was as full as then. Perhaps not the same crowd. We talked about this with Brandon. We're like, man, back when this was a May race, you would have University of South Carolina fraternity row, and they would be doing fraternity things
bobbing
that were
for beer,
fun to watch.
Yeah,
but like as an adult, you just go, man, I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore.
Oh, we'll get to that later on in the report cards section, where Rusty partook in a little bit of a fraternity-ish activity and won. But everybody was so cool, dude. The dudes next door to us, there was some weirdos kind of behind us, but the other dude that was there by himself, and like sleeping outside on a cot, but just cool as the other side of the pillow.
That dude he was hard. He was cool and he was hard.
Yeah.
And the next day we woke up after our first night and go, dude's not got a tent. And Brandon's like, but he's got a cot with a blanket.
Yep.
He slept outside.
He damn sure slept outside. We went over, did you sleep outside? Hell yeah. I like nature. But he wasn't like.
But he was like, which one of y'all was doing all that damn yelling? And I was like, me?
Might have been Sherwin. But I mean, just again, everybody at campsites being so cool. You remember it was Saturday. Was it Saturday or Sunday? No, it was whenever it was, Saturday or Sunday. And he says, "Hey, fellas, I got my smoker over here, and I'm just putting like 4 pieces of chicken on. There's all kinds of room if y'all want to put something on the smoker." And me and Sherwin, who both are, smoker enthusiasts here, and we look at each other and go, "Well, dude, we were just going to pan fry this pork tenderloin, but we could also just throw it on the smoker." And it's another one of those things we talked about where Southern folks, they offer you something, but don't offer us something and then kind of expect us to say, "No, it's okay, blah, blah, blah. We don't want to be a hassle." We'll come up with a plan. And within 2 minutes, Sherwin, we had that pork tenderloin out. I had those gloves on. We had mustarded it up and put the spices on it, and boom, it's on there.
Stubbs.
Before he even know what happened. So we had us a good old time with him. I don't even remember his name.
I don't know that I ever knew his name.
I'm not sure I did either.
That guy that's next to us, so you don't need, like, when it's only one person, you don't really have to learn the name. You just go over and start talking.
Yep. Had a good old time. So
yeah.
That dude was cool.
And we did that, like, before the race, and it was an afternoon race. And then, like, we stacked it in, because Rusty always brings 2 cast iron skillets, which is awesome because the Coleman stove has the 2 eyelets. So in case you needed to, like, do veggies at the same time you're doing meat, this is something you can manage. We're like, all right, well, how do we do this? We know we have access to solar power the old-fashioned way. So we're like, all right, we don't want this to get cold, but we know we have sun. So, like, we stacked the 2. We built, like, a dome with the, like, one upside-down skillet and just put it in the sun. We're like, this is going to stay hot. This is going to stay real hot.
Yeah. And those black cast iron skillets, you bet your bottom dollar. But yeah, so I mean, being at the campsite, man, that was super cool. We'll talk about the races here in a moment, but camping was great. The crowd was great. Everything surrounding the race was fantastic. Oh, and something I forgot to mention. How many ice creams did we have? I think we had like 3 ice creams. There's a dude right at the end.
Good.
Right
Vanilla
at the end.
Soft serve. I'm telling you, I can't resist it.
Oh, man. Right at the end of the campsite, there's this kind of big row of vendors, and one of them is this. I mean, it's like kiddie stuff, right? It's the first time you see it, you're like, that silly ice cream cone thing. He's got like the trailer is shaped like an ice cream cone, and he's got this blow up thing that makes it look like the soft serve ice cream on top.
Oh yeah, like the shape of his store, it's the outside of it is an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
And then he's got that like blow the air in thing that looks like vanilla, like the Dookie emoji.
Yeah.
But that's not Dookie. That means ice cream.
That means ice cream.
Ice cream.
And so, I don't know. When I first get there, and I'm like, that silly ice cream guy's back. And next thing you know, you've been drinking some, you've eaten some, you need something. And by the way, I'm not going to complain about the weather because we did not get rained on one drop. But boy, was it hot out.
It was hotter than a whole lot of sayings that I have that I'm not. I can't really say now because most of them have like a Ashley DiGilio level of cuss words in them. But
it was hot. But I'm not going to complain about that. But after a while, we're kind of looking at each other, sweating, going, "How about that damn ice cream? Why don't we go get us one? All we got to do is walk down the end." And sure enough, I mean, I think we visited the ice cream thing like 3 times. So
it was delicious ice cream.
It was great.
I had a waffle cone one time. It was to die for.
I was jealous of your waffle cone because the waffle cone like cost $1 more, and there must have been like 10 times as much ice cream in it.
14 to 18 pounds more ice cream in that. So it was twice as much ice cream for sure.
Good times. Well, let's do it, dude. Let's start to tear it down.
Oh goodness!
It's time for the report card session. So first period. Let's talk about the Xfinity race, dude.
Interesting things.
I wrote in the notes here that I haven't been that fired up about a race that I've been in person probably since Casey won at Atlanta to get into the playoffs. And, that was, 2014 or something?
Yeah, 14.
And this was probably the most excited, emotional, and fired up that I have been at a live race since then. How about you? In
terms of raw emotion, I don't I mean, yeah. I mean, the last time you see your driver win under a very, like, badass set of circumstances is certainly going to take, like, it's going to be sitting on the pedestal. But here we are 4 years removed from that. I mean, I lost my mind, like, not necessarily in a bad way, but, like, like, I was invested.
Mm-hmm.
I was invested in this race.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons.
Yep.
And we saw something that pissed us off, to put it mildly.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, of course, we've talked about Ross Chastain. Shoot, last week we were talking about him because he got 7th place 2 weeks ago in the race, and how cool it was. And the reason we talk about him so much is having been able to meet him a few times, and he comes to the tweet ups and stuff. Such a cool, down to earth dude. And I keep calling him the troubadour of the NASCAR series, the one that just, he's the steady guy. Dale Jr. apparently tweeted out a few weeks ago, or a few months ago maybe, that Ross Chastain outperforms every vehicle that he is in, or takes it beyond its expectations. And he's only been in, moderate vehicles until this weekend, and goes and just squats that thing on the pole and proceeds to lead almost every lap. I mean, the ones that he didn't lead, it was just a matter of time and a matter of pit stops.
Green flag stops and strategy.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's right back out front leading the laps, and they're all the way to 35 to go, dude. He was leading all that. Holy crap.
Well, so, I mean, a couple things. All right, let's rundown. First of all, this is an extremely short race, 147 laps, all right? So you got to get it. You got to poop and get it, as we say. And what we've seen in that car is we've seen a guy we think is going to be a legit Cup superstar in Kyle Larson, has led laps and performed very well in that car. We've seen John Hunter Nemechek get in that car, and he's run well, very well. So you feel like, okay, that car's probably pretty good. And you've seen, Ty Majeski, I think is his name, that's shared some time in that car.
Majeski, yep.
And he's run okay. Then you see Ross Chastain get it, stuff it on the pole, and lead 90 of 112 laps.
Yeah.
And then
the deal, I don't know. Everybody's talked about it at this point. It's like, what do you want me to say? Everybody knows that Harvick was, showed his butt and got called out on it.
He crammed his foot in his mouth all the way up to his knee.
Does anybody else say show their ass? Like, is that a thing?
Yeah, showed his ass.
Okay, all right. Yeah. He showed his ass. All right. I'm making sure that was a thing.
Yeah, he showed the one in the pasture that just won't stop doing that donkey honk. Would you shut up over there?
Yeah.
Showed his ass.
Yeah. So here's the crazy thing. Harvick announcing earlier this week that he's not going to run Xfinity regularly anymore. So that, he gives his excuses. I need to focus on Cup. I need to be with my team in the hauler, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, is this a direct result of what happened on track? And not just what happened on track, by the way, but probably some of the backlash that he got. Like, he's like, well, if I hadn't run that race, then I wouldn't even been in this like demon position that people are putting me in. And P.S. if he does that to anybody else in the Cup race, nobody cares, right? You know what I mean?
Ooh, if he causes that kind of wreck in the Cup race, going for the lead, hell yeah, he's going to catch scrutiny.
But I mean, it's not a Ross Chastain that he's going to do that against. It's a Brad Keselowski or it's a Joey Logano or something, and then it's somebody in the same parity that he has, versus this is some dude coming in and bullying some other guy who deserves a chance.
Well, the thing I absolutely love about this, and this is where so Kevin Harvick fans, you're just going to have to bear with us. Look, we spent a whole weekend with one, and he took a thorough beating, just like he said yesterday on his own show. Like, here's the thing. You make a great point. I can't stand bullies, which is probably, if in the 90s and the 80s, I probably never would have liked Earnhardt for similar reasons, although those things are very different things. I am so happy for Ross Chastain to have damn near wrecked out of the race in the situation that it happened, because he's got the biggest bully team owner all up in his back pocket.
Yeah.
Chip's like, y'all come on over here and get some. Boy's going to be in my car.
Yeah. I wouldn't call Chip a bad name within, earshot.
No, that's a big boy. He used to race. Now he's ready to punch people in the face. DC Solar's CEO called Kevin Harvick on Twitter an idiot.
That was fantastic.
All right? Kevin Harvick has had a fantastic Cup career. He had a fantastic Xfinity career. He had a good truck career as a driver and as an owner. Kevin Harvick has done amazing, fantastic things for NASCAR. He thought all of that would allow him to say whatever he wanted to say in that interview, and he found out that's not true.
And that's my point with him saying, I'm not going to run some Xfinity no more. I think that has a lot to do with what happened this past weekend and that backlash that he's like, I don't need that. I don't need that here in, maybe he's trying to stay positive or whatever it is, but it's like, and he stepped in the gutter himself. So he's part to blame there.
Well, he probably has been asked to run that car to understand how they can help Cole Custer's performance. Mm-hmm. And he probably didn't necessarily even want to do it. Mm-hmm. But once you get in the car, you have to compete. And so that's where you're at with it. I don't hate Kevin Harvick, the competitor.
Right.
Like, racing and wrecking happens. Right. He made a bad decision in a situation where he could have spent the next 35 laps trying to pass Ross Chastain. Where he made the mistake was the PR move at the end.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. If he'd have said, made a mistake out there, I got loose and then I kind of lost it and there was nothing I could do at that point, collected us both, then he hooked me, I get that in frustration, blah, 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 wish him the best. We'll move on.
Well, and if you think about it from Ross,
I need to be a PR writer, evidently.
Yeah, no, that was great. If you think about it from Ross's perspective, and Ross is always, like you said, we've run into him a bunch of different times now. Ross seems like a guy that has a very good grasp of what's happening around him, and he's a very good spatial awareness of what like the next several layers are. Mm-hmm. Ross had a chance to win a race when at the time when you get, it's like Ryan Preece. Right? Mm-hmm. He's got a chance to run a Gibbs car 5 times. You got to win. Mm-hmm. If you want the next thing, you got to win. Everybody's saying Ross Chastain gets more of his equipment than anybody else, and he's driving 30th place equipment up to 18th, which is a big deal. He's now in a 10th to 5th to first place car. That car has won races. He should, worst case scenario is finishing 10th. He's got to put that car in victory lane, and he gets it taken from him what he thinks is a dirty pass or a not really well calculated pass. Mm-hmm. But he also knows we're in the playoffs now coming up, which means Harvick's not even going to be allowed to run an Xfinity car.
Right.
So his immediate reaction, he's probably got all that in the bank. Maybe it's subconscious. He's like, you just took it from me. I'm taking it right back from you. Mm-hmm. Your car's done, bud. It happened within a matter of 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, you wrecked me? Boom, you're out.
I thought that was super cool. To go from a guy, and I put this on Twitter, that we asked Ross what his goals were for the race, I think back in Atlanta this year when we met him. And he said, I just don't want to be in tomorrow's newspaper as a headline. And I put on Twitter, I said, you know what? Well, he failed that this weekend for all the right reasons.
For all the right reasons.
But that's been his mantra for so long. I don't want to be the headline or whatnot. And so he's so, when they were interviewing after the stage wins, he's just like, guys, I'm out here doing my job. There's like 50 people that make this happen, and I'm the 50th link in that chain. If any one of those links are busted, then this whole thing goes down. So I got to do my job right now, and I'm hoping I'm doing that as best as I can. Like, just so humble and so giving to the people that are making it happen for him. But for him to hook Harvick right after all that, that's the racer part. If you don't love every bit of the humility, I was going to say humbleness, but the humility that he has, combined with B, that racer, fire. Oh my gosh!
Scared of you.
That guy is awesome. Love it.
Scared of you.
Love it. So let's go. Second period, Cup race.
Did we? have to give a grade there, or was that just a conversation? Was it was just a lecture?
What do you want to be?
There was really no test or anything.
What are we going to give? A+ to Ross Chastain and Z- to Kevin Harvick.
Yep, agreed.
So, okay,
agreed. Moving on.
Yeah, that was an easy grade, dude. It's time to blow the horn. Every bit of it, and that last little grandpa
you
fart right there at the
period.
end. Well, this is second period. Did I say third period? I don't know. Second period, we're talking about Cup race, and I'm blowing the horn because old Rusty called it with Brad Keselowski winning the deal.
Well, we already talked about the damn lightning delay.
I know. I move stuff around. I do this stuff like in my head as we're going on, you know?
Well, then
you don't have to follow, one line by line. We're good.
All right.
So we're talking about the Cup race. I did want to give the shout out to the fans for doing the wave before the lightning delay at the Cup race. But let's talk about that Cup race. I wrote on here, I thought it was a little bit of a snoozer for the first two stages. I don't know how that looked on TV. I'd have loved to go back and see. But then it was on. Then, like that third stage, I mean, just snap back to reality, baby. We're racing again. What'd you think?
Well, so I always love being there, and I'm not paying attention to the race. I'm
Sure.
paying attention to my race car, which was having a fairly good run. So I'm always a terrible judge of this when it comes to like Jeff Gluck's post-race podcast of like, what do you call it, poll of was this a good race? But I don't know. It certainly looked exciting towards the end, and the fans voted at 73%. So I don't know that. I mean, I guess whoever pays attention to Jeff Gluck certainly thought it was a good race.
Yep.
Even though the people that were in his post-race podcast were like, yeah, that was kind of meh. And it's like, all right, well, okay. I guess being in person changes the game, y'all. Go to races. Go to races.
Well, not only
In
go to
person.
races, but we've said it before. You got to be rooting for somebody almost. Like you're gonna be way more excited. And like you said, so we're sitting there following Chase Elliott the whole time, and having a good old time watching him. I mean, we're up there, doing the fishing line thing, Oh
yeah, he's reeling dudes.
Oh
in.
yeah, he's doing that, and we're.
You know what? Darlington is finally back to exactly what Darlington always was that people loved. Tires are ridiculously important.
Oh yeah, the leaders were getting passed by 2 seconds when
lappers
I'm trying
were
to think of what were grabbing tires.
Or no, it wasn't Brett. It was TJ Majors on Door Bumper Clear this week said, Darlington is the only place we go where you can say a guy is a straightaway behind you, and within a lap and a half, he's passing you.
Yeah, you can't hardly do that.
That's
at
why
Bristol.
Darlington feels like a short track is because of how much tires matter.
Yeah. So that's but it's both ends of that. It's the speeds plus the tires plus. I don't know. I like it all.
Well, in turn 4, what we got to see, I don't ever want to change my seats, or our seats, I should say, because in turn 4, when they were running, when they got on new tires, they weren't even on the racetrack. You couldn't see it because they didn't. I think they wanted to make it look like all 5 lanes were the racetrack, or 6 or 7 or however many there were there. But it used to be they painted a line to where only the top 3 lanes were considered the racetrack.
Oh yeah,
that wasn't the case at all.
No,
this past weekend
we used every bit of asphalt that was
they
out
were
there,
all over the place,
dude. How about our seats? I mean, I'm not. Look, when you luck into something, you shouldn't just pat yourself on the back. But I'll pat myself on the back next year when we renew those tickets. That is the place to watch. Out of in the middle of 4 is the place to watch the Darlington race.
Yeah, right around where they get back to the gas in 4.
Holy cow!
You can see the entire racetrack. You don't really have to turn your head very much. It's awesome. I really honestly think we should consider moving our seats at Atlanta to the highest seat in the exit of turn 4. Just because we've seen so many start-finish races. Let's take a look at what it looks like there. It might be very similar.
Yeah.
Because the surface is so worn.
Right. It's a good idea. So Brad Keselowski takes the checkered after everything. How about Clint Bowyer, Ryan Newman? That was like a thing, and that happened right in front of us. And then Clint's sitting there, and Ryan Newman's car suddenly starts backing up, and I'm kind of going. I'm looking at it like that's not a gravity backup. That is...
No, it's in gear.
Somebody's got this in gear backing up. Because sometimes you see that, right? Like they're up on the wall, and then they lose a gear, and then they just kind of, right down into somebody, and you're like,
out of gear, and they start rolling.
Yeah. You're like, that sucks for the guy that's just sitting there because, like, he's already wrecked, and then just the slightest 3-mile-an-hour blam, like just, icing on the cake for everything sucks right now. But this was like an accelerated deal, and we're looking at it kind of going, what's going on here? So how about that deal?
Well, so here's what that deal was. There was a lapper in the high lane that was running extremely slow.
Sounds like the Xfinity race.
Clint was freshly on tires, which means he was running the apron to pass everybody. He's catching Newman like you'd be catching a guy that's fixing to pit for
second
tires.
And a half a lap, yeah.
And Newman goes to pit, but the problem was Clint Bowyer had been B-wording. Actually, we can use it on
You're
that.
That's radio.
That's AM radio safe. He was bitching about being hot. There was something in his radiator for like a lap and a half after they got up to speed. And so he's reading off temperature. So he's looking down at his gauges, pushed the button in, reading temperature, looks up, Newman. But because he was on the radio, Brett couldn't tell him.
Oh, so okay.
And because
I didn't get the rundown after all that.
Jason Jarrett, who is Dale Jarrett's son,
I'm gonna say
is
related
Ryan Newman's spotter, and he was so far away from where Brett was standing, the whole hand wave thing wasn't working.
Okay.
And so it was just one of those, like, what do you call that when all the things line up and this is the bad things that happen?
Oh, yeah. Perfect storm.
Perfect storm of bad things that happen in a row, or like malcommunication in a row. Boyer's reading temperatures off. He's like, I'm 290. Y'all got to figure this out right now. Because remember, he had a really good car. He was running the top 10 all night. And, and Darlington's one of those deals where now that we're running the apron, it almost looks like a guy pits from, like, the third lane to get the angle, right? To come off. And so, like, it's wham, just ass-packed him, as they call it. That's what they say on Door Bumper Clear, where they bleep everything. So, just so we're clear.
Just so we're clear about that one. So, there was that. And then, like we said, Brad Keselowski just kind of right place, right time in both of those races, I would say.
Ooh, Larson and his crew have got to be just sort of staring at the
lamenting
wall.
Yeah, whether they're staring at it on their own accord or like they were put in the corner. Like, you go stand in the corner for a little while.
I'm sure Larson was already planning to run this outlaw race out in, somewhere Portland, Oregon. I'm sure that was already in the cards because logistics had to be there, but I guarantee you he wants to get in that car and get Darlington off his mind.
Yeah, at this point. Yeah, that's a tough giveaway for I mean, so early in his career to be able to have that sort of chance.
Win both stages?
Holy mackerel. Yeah. And that's why the first two stages were kind of snoozer. I mean, he's there's Larson and there's everybody else doing stuff that's really cool, but you still got to pass Larson.
Well, and so that's funny you say that. Not just the whole passing Larson thing, but what, again, I'll reference Door Bumper Clear because, like I said, this is your homework, people. If you're listening to us, you have to listen to them because they do it better than we do. They do it differently, but they do it better. I don't know. I think we might be funnier. But the fact that Brad has just won his either 29th or 30th race, and this was his first traditional crown jewel, like his first Winston Million win. But I would say that Bristol Night Race it's got to be in the modern era. Are we going to reset these 4 races? Maybe you can't do that. But this is, according to the old school book, 70s, 80s, 90s, this is Brad's first crown jewel win.
That's surprising. That's right. I kind of got a little bit of goosebumps right there. Like,
I mean, this is either his 29th or his 30th win.
Yeah. I would love to see some statistics on that, and I should plug it into a computer and do like computer things because I know how to do that. But but I'm not gonna because I don't want to cross computers. That's right. I don't want to cross my hobbies with
cross
my work.
Streams.
Screw that. Yeah, yeah. So with that, let's go to third period. And let's talk about the way I put this was
this
like,
is an all lecture version of the report card, ladies and gentlemen.
Right?
By the way. This is pass fail.
Yeah. I don't know. That was like a B.
Well, we don't know.
I'll give it a straight B.
I think it's funny not to grade it. I think it's like this is a pass fail version. Did you show up?
Yeah.
Like if you're present,
we were.
You get credit.
we got the attendance credit.
Attendance
for that
credit.
One. So I mean, I would love to know what it was like. Y'all tell us like on the TV, if you're watching on TV, what that looked like for you in terms of a grade for that race. I mean, it was straight up B+ for me. I mean, I enjoyed, like you said, watching the drivers that we're paying attention to in the first half, and then or the first two stages, and then at the end, watching what was going on with the leaders. I enjoyed it, and you're going to be jaded just because you're there and there's all this stuff going on. Obviously, is good.
Yeah, so what I would say is anybody that is listening, watching, will listen, or will watch, if you have the wherewithal to fly or drive to Darlington and hang out with us, we will teach you why this race is way more fun than what you may or may not see on TV, although we are surprised to hear from anybody that thought that the race on TV wasn't pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I think we've heard some feedback that it was pretty good, like you said with the Gluck poll and stuff. And I mean, the other thing, dude, I mean, just being at the track, we watched Kurt Busch win by 20 miles at Atlanta and had a blast.
Oh yeah, it was the modern day Ned Jarrett at the Southern 500.
At the Southern 500, win by 14 laps or whatever it was.
14 laps. I mean, it was that. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we've seen it all. We've seen every bit of it.
Right.
I mean, except for since we started.
Right. So third period, the way I put this was the 800-pound gorilla and the elephant in the room. Like all of the sayings that you can go with here is front row, dude.
Oh yeah. So it's
this
like
was
a
WWE
scratch. Cage match with like the biggest gorilla that's ever lived. And then an elephant.
Right. They're both in the room.
Like
and what are they going to do?
Each other up going, we both eat plants.
And they actually join forces. But
we're both real violent. So how are we doing this?
Right. And then walks in John Cena. And you're like, what the hell's going on? So, like,
Gorilla's
Sherwin, what the hell is going on here?
You know what? I did a Cliff Notes tweet yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nate Ryan wrote a really well articulated sectional about all the different questions you might have about why they would close, and I'm gonna pat myself on the back. If you read my Cliff Notes, you would have passed the test.
Okay,
because I got it right.
Boom.
It's what Furniture Row was a guy that loved racing, had a little bit extra money.
What's his name?
Barney Visser.
That was
Barney Visser.
Yeah,
and Joe. Oh man, I wish I'd
Galifianakis.
Yeah, we'll just go with Joe Galifianakis, just because everybody will know we were getting it wrong on purpose.
Right.
So I think it's Garone. Joe Garone is a business manager, and Barney Visser is the owner of the company, and they went racing way back in 2000 with Furniture Row on the car, and they're like, we're just going to show up, and maybe we'll make the race, and it'll be fun, and I like racing, and cars are fun and stuff.
Yeah.
And then
if me and you had, not infinite money, but at least stupid money.
It would be like if you and I had enough money to actually fund a Legends car and let somebody like Jorgen get in it.
Or the equivalent money that we spend now to go to races, right?
Yes.
It doesn't it's not that it's not that doesn't hit the checkbook, but it's at least in the budget.
Right. If you added all 8 or 9 or whatever, how many races it ends up being between the two of us, yeah, you've got a nice little, basket.
But
of
if you
cash.
budget that out, hey, we'll do good.
It's fine.
So anyway,
he wanted to go racing.
Yeah, multiply that by 100.
Yeah, well, multiply it by 1 million,
or maybe 1 million.
Well, no, probably 10,000. Multiply it by 10,000.
Yep.
No,
10,000.
actually not 10. Multiply it by about 200, and it's probably where Barney started.
Yeah.
Just hanging around, spending million or so in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's got 2 cars sometimes. You qualify for Daytona, maybe win that last place, $250,000. Daytona's a funny deal. And then you go on 10 years, and all of a sudden you get to a place where you've got a guy that actually probably should have a win in Regan Smith. And we're at this race. We just happen to be at this race at Darlington. Only reason why Regan Smith was able to win is because Casey hit the wall after leading 135 laps of a race that he was going to run away with, how fast his car is. But he wins one on the last lap. All of a sudden, you've won one race in your owner career. Same thing for Regan. You've won one cup race in your race career, and it's a crown jewel. And all of a sudden, it's like, this is a wake-up call. It's not a huge payout like Daytona or Indy are, but it is a wake-up call like, hey, we won a race. That means we spent all day out of trouble up front with an opportunity to do this.
Right. Now we got to find some sponsors.
Yeah.
Now we got to find a driver.
So now, then Regan's no longer an opportunity, but Kurt Busch becomes available.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden you see the program start to progress to the point where, like, Kurt Busch doesn't win a race for them, but he allows them to develop to the point where they're not just this also-ran, I have an alliance with Richard Childress, we're running a car that's self-sponsored. We're a little bit more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even at that point, they were past the Geschechters with the 47 and the 37 that we see today. Maybe they're even a little bit better than that in terms of where they finish. And then all of a sudden, everything hits the fan with Michael Waltrip, and you have a chance to get Ryan. Sorry. You have a chance to get Martin Truex Jr., and it's a whole new thing. Like, that first year was trouble.
Yep.
But then all of a sudden, Mark Truex has such a good relationship with Bass Pro that they're like, hey, we'll come back.
Yep.
We want to be with Martin Truex, but we have to have some sort of, like, there's got to be a relationship. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, we're going to Gibbs.
Yep.
We're going to go to a Gibbs alliance. And they win a race. It's like, oh, we got something pretty hot here. And then the rest is really history from there. Like, once they win a race, legit win a race,
right.
It's like, okay, so we have sponsorship, and Barney's like, all right, I used to pay for this whole car by myself. Now I have like this $8 or $9 million that I don't have to spend, so I can like take whatever I was spending on sponsoring it myself, and I can like spend that on infrastructure.
Yeah, and word on the street is that the rest of his either board or family or whatever that is second tier to him in that corporation are not as big a NASCAR fans as he has. So
yeah, and he's 69 and he had a heart attack last year.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so let's fast forward real quick so we get out of the period in time to like not make this ridiculous. But the whole point of that buildup was they got to the place where they were winning a race, winning lots of races, and winning a championship because they had full boat sponsorship. And Barney's like, I got a taste of winning. We're going to win. So all the money that he was spending on his own to sponsor the car, he spent on infrastructure and people. And then now they lost a sponsor, and he can't afford it. He's like, I'm not going back to running 25th. We're done. And I almost said the F word.
We're done. Yeah. I hear you. No, it makes sense. And the thing that it hurts me that it probably hurts him to have to do this more than anybody.
Well, so think about it from this perspective. He's 69. He's ought to be in retirement age of the world, and he's got a family. He's like, if I wanted to run, we can still compete. We'll win races with this Martin Truex and Cole Pearn guys. They're awesome. But I'll take a loan out. And if something goes wrong,
now he's on the hook.
This company that I built to millions of dollars. You realize, all right, just so everybody's listening, make sure you understand
tens or
this.
hundreds of millions.
The guy that wins the Monster Energy Cup trophy gets an $8 million check just for that race.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is the kind of money we're talking about. I don't know how much he has to share that with Barney. Probably would say he probably has to share 50%.
Yeah.
So
maybe
if
more.
you could take $4 million and just slap it in the bank, most people would be able to take care of their families for a couple generations on that if they make good decisions. Plus, he has a furniture business that doesn't suck.
Right.
So why would you take a loan out against that?
Right. No, perfect. I think what has really struck a chord is things like what Tommy Joe has been telling us on this show so many times, and then what everybody's been saying about how much it costs and what it means. Like you said, if you lose a sponsor like that, there is no more. And so I don't know what to say. It is. I don't know if it's vindication or bittersweet or whatever. Not bittersweet for anybody. Nobody wants to see this happen, but it's somewhat of a turning point, I think. And that's what I'm seeing all over the media right now. Is that, hey, we've reached a turning point now. Number one is how much it costs right now. Number two, Sherwin, we've talked about this on the show, is sponsor for the series coming up plus the TV deal. Like, we're fixing to get half the TV deal that we got right now. We're fixing to get half the sponsor that we have right now, and we're fixing to get more of this type of stuff happening. We got to figure out how to do not more with less, but how to make this sport still relevant with, it might be half the money in 3 years from now. You know what I'm saying?
It should be half the money in 3 years from now.
It should be, dadgummit. I'm going to hit the table.
It should be half the money.
You know, and that's how it started. So
I mean, to your point, we probably don't have Monster next year, which is weird for an entitlement sponsor to only be around for 2 or 3 years.
Nextel kind of was that, right?
Yeah, but that's because they were
bought by Sprint.
Yeah, they were purchased.
I get it. Yeah.
That entitlement sponsor stuff is weird altogether. But here's the thing: if people keep talking about 2021.
Yeah,
I went and did some research. Fox's contract is through 2024.
Oh, really?
Like, they have 3 more years than NBC.
Well, fair.
So they re-upped like last year or the year before.
Yep.
So Fox is in it for 7 more years of on-track stuff. So, like, okay, all right. So, I mean, somebody got mad at me because I was like, yeah, that means we're probably not going to have a significant track change. Like, that's not happening. And they're like, oh, you're such negative. And I'm like, when did reporting facts become negative?
Right? Yeah, weird.
Facts are neutral, ladies and gentlemen.
We didn't even talk about the rumor mill, and Beast just, Jumpy Bob. No, who was it? Beast just reminded me that, Truex to the 19 and JGR and all that, and Suarez possibly filling in where Casey was in the where Casey might have gone to the 6, and then blah blah blah. I mean, there's a lot of silly season stuff to look out for, and I trust me, I'm paying like super close attention to all this stuff. But right now it's being reported everywhere, so it's like why would we talk about it? We're not breaking news here. But
we're not trying to get clickbait either.
But so we'll see what happens. That it seems like a strong thing. That, I mean, if you're anybody, you want Truex in a car right now. So
So I mean, I will fully admit that I was going hard on Truex to the 41. I would retract that potential statement. I was not trying to get clickbait either. I was thinking that actually made a lot of sense to me for that to happen. So
here's a question for you. So do you think Truex can have as much success somewhere else? And the reason I ask this is front row out there in Denver is separated in terms of, like, there's nobody on their team who's competing for if you're based in Charlotte and you have really good guys, they're going to go to other teams and stuff. If you're in Denver, there's nowhere else to go, right? And you can keep those whatever trade secrets or whatever that Cole Pern is doing or that whatever's going on happening out there in Denver. Do you think Truex has as much success? Obviously, he's a great driver, but does he have as much, like we talked about earlier with the 50 links in the chain with Ross Chastain? Are all those links as strong if he's with, somebody else here?
I don't know the answer to that because
I thought it's an interesting question.
No,
I don't know the answer
either. It's a great question.
Yeah.
So here's the reason why I think it's an interesting question is because we saw a bunch of different single-year explosions in NASCAR in the call it the aughts.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we saw Ryan Newman win 7 races as a sophomore.
What?
We saw Casey win 6 races as a junior. We saw Dale Jr. win 6 races as a third or fourth year.
Okay.
And then
red shirt
and neither red shirt a little bit. No, he actually won as a freshman, so he
okay.
He doesn't count.
All right. So true.
So you've seen these single year explosions happen where like obviously you found something. I mean, the driver matters a bunch. I'm trying not to.
A bunch load?
A driver matters a bunch, but you can hit on something that causes you to just be so much better it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think we saw that with we thought we saw that with Truex, and then he's done it like 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is for real. Although, I mean, Harvick's never won 7 races in a year.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever won 5.
So Jumpy Bob says, does Truex bring Cole Pern with him? And I would say
everyone in the industry says those two are staying together.
I'm saying that's a package deal all day long, all the way up until an article that I read earlier today that said Cole Pern just really hates. Not really hates. That's a bad word.
The North Carolina thing, that'll go away.
He doesn't like the North Carolina thing.
He wasn't winning when he lived in North Carolina.
That is a.
He's been with Furniture Row for 8 years.
Yeah,
they did not win races 8 years ago.
Right. That's a great point. Where, hey, if you're hey, y'all, I don't like the North Pole, but if you want me to move to the North Pole for $10 million a year, I'll do it for a few years. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, however you do it's how you
so
do
good
it.
Point.
But
good point.
You have solidified yourself as the number 3 crew chief in NASCAR.
Yeah.
You've got Canals, you've got Roddy Childers, and you got Cole Pern.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then you've got what's Brad Keselowski's?
Paul Wolf.
Paul Wolf probably deserves to be somewhere near that conversation.
Yeah.
As a strategist for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like those, I mean, he's top tier. You're not going to care where you live if you have top tier money.
So let's keep moving on because we're 55 minutes in. We'll just do like an hour and 20 here. Who cares?
Yeah, we're
having a blast. Fourth period, the most popular driver vote kicks off this week. A, are we set for another 20 years of domination? And B, number one, Bubba already, I love this, that Bubba congratulated. As soon as NASCAR put out the tweet that said, hey, you can vote for most popular driver, Bubba tweeted, congratulations, Chase, on the win of the most popular driver award. I thought that was fantastic.
I think that's hilarious because Bubba and Blaney and Chase together, all 3 of them, are like by far and away the most popular driver threesome. And Bubba has a fantastic sense of humor, as does Blaney. They're all different. We all know Chase is going to win. I'm not going to vote. I'm not voting once.
Not voting.
Doesn't matter. We all know what's going to happen. But the fact that those 3 guys are such good friends, I mean, to me that just makes NASCAR fun. Mm-hmm. I thought, over the past of the last year, they were posting videos every now and again that would show up on, and like the 3 of them are like they're drinking beer, having a good time, breaking each other's balls and stuff, and like they should do more of that. Like that. I mean, not too risque to where your sponsor's like.
Is it time to get rid of this thing, this most popular driver award? Like,
yes,
I think so too.
Yes,
and that's why I ask it because how many years did Dale Jr.
win it? Why is it your team versus my team on this?
Well, and how many years in a row did Dale Jr. win it, and how many years in a row is Chase Elliott fixing to win it? And I'm a fan of both of them, but who cares who wins this award?
Dale Jr. won it 16 times. I mean, Bill Elliott won it 13 times.
So it's stupid. This is stupid. In my lifetime, there's been like 2 winners.
Yeah, but here's the jacked up part of it is half the ones that Bill won, there wasn't even internet. So how in hell these people even vote?
Yeah, you just got to send stuff in.
They were like at the racetrack punching holes. Like, remember the old All-Star ballot when you would go to the ballpark and like you had to punch the holes and turn it in?
Dude, this is ridiculous. It's a word that I'm not allowed to say anymore.
It's hanging chads when we are electing presidents. Like, it's dumb.
Yeah, it's stupid. Anyway.
And it doesn't matter. The only people
it doesn't matter.
The only people it matters to are the marketing people that work with that driver, and they don't need a vote to let people know. They're aware.
Right.
Because stuff's getting bought.
Right.
And commercials are getting filmed.
Well, and put all this marketing money / whatever money is going into dealing with the most popular driver award and put it into anything else. Because we know who they are. You know?
It's like, so it's one of those things where you're like, they're only thinking year over year. They're not thinking 2, 3, 5 years in advance. Like, I mean, yes, Chase is likely going to be here in 5 years. Thankfully, he finally won a race, and he won it outright, no BS. But, like, I mean, Junior was a given. So why did they put so much marketing behind Junior? Because they thought they were losing some segment of the population. It's like, you actually might have hurt your race fan population by marketing Junior because of people that, like, never did like Earnhardt Sr.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not liking his son just because... I mean, I hated his dad.
Yeah.
So, like, that's a thing in sports, right? We talk about this in stick and ball. You have a regional pride a lot of times. Most of the time, you have regional pride. Like, you're from a place, and they have a team.
Mm-hmm.
NASCAR's not that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't, like, let's not get super specific.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
You tell me.
I mean, like I said, just get rid of this thing. Who cares? What is the point of this anymore? For everybody to do that,
tweet it out
and
now.
I think that's what Bubba has said with what he did. Whether that was like a passive aggressive comment, which I mean, I think it was just him having fun. So yeah, I don't see the point of it. Fifth period, dude. Last week we talked about Rockingham getting purchased. This week, let's talk about Nashville a little bit. There's some murmurs of NASCAR returning to Nashville. The mayor of Nashville expressed a little bit of support of it, and that was a few weeks after the SMI CEO and some other folks, Bristol-related and such, they made some pitches to update the track and make it happen. I mean, I don't know if there's a whole lot to say here other than, hey, thumbs up, fellas. Good job.
Well, I think one of the things I thought was really cool that I saw either yesterday or maybe the day before from Matt Weaver was that the Nashville city planner or maybe the mayor or whatever said, yeah, we're definitely okay in the soccer stadium, but we're also real super chill with figuring out how to get NASCAR back here.
Yeah. So so I didn't have – so here's the thing. I knew we were going to take a while, so I didn't have a whole lot of fifth period stuff. I knew it'd be like this would be like an A-plus thing. But it was interesting that, that's the latest stuff going on. Let's talk about recess, dude. Recess this week, Andrew Cancian drove down from Jersey to Darlington, like New Jersey to Darlington. And it was so much fun meeting him and hanging out with him and his buddy Barf.
Christian, dude.
Christian is forever known as Barf now. Sherwin gave him that. So this is a Sherwin thing. Like, I've had some creative moments in my life, but this one, Sherwin just, like, Barf, Spaceballs and stuff. Like, it was total, like, it was well-deserved, and let's back up a little bit. But Cancian, you meet people on Twitter, and you never know if they're going to be this way or that way or cool or weird or whatever. Cancian, dude, was so much fun. Dude is solid, and he's so much smarter than I was when I was in college, and I did good at college. Like I was good at college. I did fine, but Cancian is just he's a fun dude to hang around. He knows it. He's got his stuff together. His stuff together. So Cancian, it was awesome hanging with you there. But your friend Barf, here's the deal. So we're hanging out, and by the way, Cancian is a college student. Which college, Sherwin, right? Maybe you don't know.
God, I don't know if
Cancian's
he's at
gotta
one of the
tell us.
SUNYs
Sorry.
or if he's at Rutgers or
so
what.
Either way, they're in college.
Get mad
They
at
drove
us
down.
for not
I know. I'm embarrassed. I've been drinking, y'all. because he told us probably 4 times this weekend. But anyway, so they drive down, and there comes a point, and Cancian is driving, so he's not drinking, but his buddy Barf, or Christian, has he's drinking, but the pace of drinking is up to him, right? Like, he knows if I drown this beer, then Cancian's just going to pull me another beer and hand it to me. So, like, he's going to hand him a beer every time he finishes. So just, take this one easy maybe, or whatever. But next thing I hear is shotgun! We're doing a shotgun, boys! And here's the thing, y'all. I can count the number of beer shotguns I've done since graduating college on one hand, right?
Oh, since graduating?
Since graduating college, we've done some for like
3 times maybe.
There's been a few.
I don't think
times,
I did any of them with you. Like, it was like rednecks were like, "Hey, we're shotgunning beer."
Remember, so we have like the homecoming golf tournament, and you shotgun a beer on one of the holes. Like, maybe
did
twice
the guy say,
we did
please
that.
don't do that.
Right. So there's 2 or 3 times I can think of. So I'm guessing there's like 5 times I've done a shotgun.
Right.
So here's the thing: 2 dudes who are 21 years old roll up, and they're in college, and they're like, "We're shotgunning." Or Cancian couldn't do it, so his buddy, Barf, is like, "Let's shotgun," and I'm like, I'm looking around, and everybody's like, "No." There's a bunch of hard no's. And Rusty here is like, well, let me look at the watch. It has been 3 years since my last shotgun, so I'll do it. I'll take one for the team here. I fully expect to be shown up by
a 21-year-old.
A 21-year-old. When I was 21, when I was 21, I would have destroyed you with a shotgun. 20. Yeah. I would have shotgunned the beer and then spit in your face. Like, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And so I was like, I'll do the shotgun, right? Fine. I'll be the sacrificial lamb. It's all good, right? So I got the keys. I'm cutting the thing open. I'm getting ready. Sherwin, call this one. Now, in our fraternity, I'm sure every fraternity or everybody's got their own thing, but there's a call to shotgun where there's not a speech, but like everybody.
It's a cadence.
It's kind of like the 1, 2, 3, go. But
there's more meat to it.
Yeah, there's more meat to it, and there's a lot more stuff. If you're ever around us and you want to know, tell us, and maybe I'll shotgun with you.
Yeah, I might will too.
Right,
yeah, I feel guilty for not shotgunning with
you. We'll do it. So
at this,
I fully expect to be shown up in this, but the fact that they were so enthusiastic that it's shotgun time, I had to participate. Right.
Well, yeah.
So, Sherwin does a call, and it's go time. It's 1, 2, 3, go. As soon as the go happens, I do the best that I can. Pop the top, inhale, 4 to 5 glugs, glug, 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 and crush the can and throw it on the ground. I look over, homeboy Barf is maybe a third of the way through.
If that.
I start singing, I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. Like, it's been 15 years since I've been in college, and I'm still halfway, he's still now halfway through this shotgun, right? So what do I do next? I mean, I'm drunk. I slap his ass.
I did. That happened. I can confirm.
I'm like, come on, dude.
Hey, hurry up, bud.
Yeah, what's going on?
It's time for the next thing.
Right. I could have shotgunned 4 beers by the time that he was done with this thing. So I felt pretty good about it. Turns out, like, he didn't pop the top or something got weird.
Yeah, he didn't pop
I don't know
the
what
top.
was going on.
He must have already been,
He might have been there already.
Hammered.
As it turns out, the reason that his nickname is Barf, he didn't just. So here's the thing: I've had like plenty. I shouldn't admit to this. I've had plenty of like beer barfs, where you're like, I drank too much beer, raw,
yeah,
done, and that's it, right?
It's not even a thing.
All it is just a bunch of foam, and you're like, well, that sucked,
Well, I can't pull more in unless I get some of it out.
Right? Let's drink. Let's go. Barf lost his lunch, dude. There was corn.
It was accidental,
and I mean, I hate to like he
kind of sort of ran to the side.
Yeah. He lost his lunch. There was food in this barf,
a lot of
right,
it.
and we shouldn't. Like all the way. I mean, sitting right now in the Darlington campground,
there is still a puddle of food barf.
Sorry,
there's an oil slick
who doesn't like this, but there was, it had all the all the trappings of a real
No,
barf.
this is what's going to get these people that are listening to like actually come to a race with us because we don't mess around.
Right. So he straight up puked, and then Cancian was like, "We got to go. We're out of here." And we get a text from Cancian 10 minutes later.
You're out of here.
It's a picture text of old Barf. Round 2 is on the ground at the local gas station.
Oh, he sealed the parking lot at the gas station. It was way different than what happened in the camera.
Yeah, it was huge. And he took a picture of it. I guess he was bored. I mean, Cancian, I don't know what to say. That was perfect. It was like, dude, here's round 2. Look at this. And we were laughing our asses off. And then we heard the next morning, and this was 10:30 a.m. Like, they left at 10:30 p.m. So we're talking about like 12 hours after stopping drinking. There was yet another
blown motor.
And we only found out about it from a tweet that Cancian sent that said, "We just had our third blown motor. We're going to be starting in the back of the field," and then signed it /PR. Like, it was beautiful.
Right.
So, Cancian, that was awesome. Well done. Barf, Christian, we love you. Come back, see us, and redeem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, redeem yourself because, well.
Redeem. Let's knock out the rest of this, dude. Ask PTM stuff going on. Mick Rose at GoDucks42_Mick. He says, is it NASCAR's responsibility to save teams from themselves?
Yes.
And I think that's an interesting question. Sherwin, tell me your interpretation on that. Because you just said yes straight up.
I mean, if they want to control cost, they have to sell the things that NASCAR teams would want to buy.
Mm.
In the interest of what has always been the most extreme capitalist sports of all the American sports, this is where we would have arrived, y'all. So, capitalism sports fans, do you think we're in a good spot? Tweet us. Because it doesn't look like we are.
For me, here's the thing. I would say on a philosophical level, no, it's not NASCAR's responsibility to save teams from themselves. But if they don't do something, then they're going to be standing there with no teams left. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's not their responsibility to do it. What it's their responsibility to do is create an arena in which all these teams can play without even needing to be saved. How about that?
So that's where my perspective is
and maybe that's the same thing, by the way.
Well, it could be or it could not be. I mean, we could have a very different angle on way we say something very similar.
Sure.
But it can't cost $25 million to run a race team.
That's what I'm saying. Yep. And I think we're both saying, everybody's saying, yeah. Yep, exactly.
Like, I don't know what's next.
Yeah.
If they wanted to pay me to join a team to try to figure it out, I would be more than willing to do that. Problem solving is my primary skill set. But for now, my answer is yes from my perspective, which is not the same kind of response as you, but very similar.
Yeah.
In that, like, we got an issue here.
Yep.
I mean, the capitalism in some arenas doesn't work. You realize the number one sport in the United States.
Sorry. I had to mess with you.
I'm done.
I didn't mean that in a derogatory way. That was
received derogatorily. Commentary withdrawn.
That was. I enjoyed that. Let's do a new follower shout out. Hey, Shannon McMinney at SM McMinney. You said she's part of McMinney. McMinney, yeah. Part of the Gluckers crew out in the Portland, Seattle area. That's cool. Thanks for joining the PTM posse. Sherwin, keep going. Rachel Bennett at Rachel B 11/29/91/21. She's a corporate communications major at Penn State. What's up?
And then we have Leanne at Buckeye 9 fan, NASCAR, WWE, and Buckeyes enthusiast. Sorry, Brandon. Got a little enemy there.
Nice.
From that team down south.
Nice.
So, yeah, we just wanted to add that in there. We got a couple of new fans signing on board.
So,
Fun
with
stuffs.
that, let's go to Indy with the Gassing Up segment. I think there's a perfect question. Andrew Kansian, our good friend, hanging out with us at Darlington at KHANTZIAN. With Indy as the new cutoff race, can we expect a typical Indy race with long green runs and a strung-out field, or should we expect last year's Demolition Derby? Sherwin.
I mean, both.
Why not both?
I mean, the only reason why we called last year's Demolition Derby a Demolition Derby is because Truex and Kyle Busch wrecked each other on, the first or second lap in turn 1?
Yeah.
It might have been the first lap, and they were both pissed.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, and then, we knocked out, I think it was 12 or 15 cars were just toast.
Just gone.
So I think that's a very isolated situation where two drivers made really bad decisions to be in the same space early in a race when everybody's in the gas. It's not like one of those segment deals where people are kind of I wonder what's going to happen here because turn 1's a little bit crazy. No, they just went balls out and they wrecked. And it's a narrow track, and so they collected everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Without the restrictor plate stuff, I think we get way more spread out. And there's also the guys who need a win to get in at this point, they're not going to be in contention, y'all. And so everybody else who is already in like this, it's almost so I don't foresee a big demolition derby. I don't see a big folks trying to do some crazy strategies or taking chances or whatever. I mean, the people who are in, the people who are out, they're probably not going to get in there, or not that they're not going to get in. They just don't really even have the cars or the equipment to get in.
It doesn't matter if they do. That's the whole thing.
Right.
It doesn't matter if they do get in. I mean, it was great for us as fans to see Casey win and go, oh, my gosh, he's in now because he was 19th in points. But it's it doesn't matter.
That's a great
They're
point.
Not
There's
making
not
the next round.
There's not a contender.
What
I could have been a contender. Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't. So I was doing the math on what it takes for Jimmy to get knocked out. It's all right, we have to have a new winner who's not in the top 16, who is a championship contender, and we have to have Alex Bowman finish 20 positions ahead of Jimmy if he doesn't win a stage. Right? He's got to finish 20 points ahead in the race, however that works out.
Yeah.
I don't know how I made myself bleed. But I did.
That's getting old. That's late 30s right there. You're bleeding,
well,
or
how many times my dad would
a few weeks ago.
Yeah. He don't even know.
And you're mad at him.
Evidently, some of your nerves die over time, and it don't hurt anymore.
Okay.
But, so it doesn't matter. Whatever happens at Indy doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's what my. I mean, maybe that's a doom and gloom outlook. I hope not, but it's just it doesn't matter in terms of the championship. It does not matter.
So I put this in the notes. Is Indy even a good idea at this point? I mean, the Colts are playing a few miles away. We're talking about,
there's no good race at this point.
Why are we doing this? The NFL season's kicking off. It's hot as crap still. What are we doing racing? I don't know.
NASCAR's dumb sometimes. Or all the time. This is a crappy schedule. This should be an April race, or as soon as you're sure it's not going to snow anymore, and it's actually going to be an enjoyable weather race. It's going to be an enjoyable weather race, but does it matter to your point, how we close the playoffs? Yeah. I think all this discussion does is tell us we have too many cars that are eligible for the playoffs.
I wouldn't have thought that because I am more of the in NCAA basketball. I'm like, hey, expand it to 64 teams, add one more game. Who cares? And
we're at 68.
See what happens. But in NASCAR, you're right. It is so much narrower a field. In that, I agree with you. And I didn't think about that before.
Individual player has so much less input.
Right. Right.
Basketball has emotion at play. NASCAR doesn't have emotion at play.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's do it. It's time to do some picks.
Start your engines!
Who you going to pick at Indy? Sherwin.
Well, you
I won. Yeah.
So I get to pick. I mean, it's my pick.
Oh, is that? I couldn't remember if we did.
Yeah,
pick first or
yeah.
whatever.
No, he who finishes first the week before must go second.
Okay.
As much as I don't want to say it, it feels like a place where Denny Hamlin could get his first win of the season.
Okay.
Just
so another first win of the season, back to back.
Strategy, a little bit of speed, but strategy is where I'm at with this.
Okay. I dig it. I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna go Brad Keselowski
Bradley?
2 in a row. Why
Well,
not?
I mean, he's the king of strategy. So, if I'm betting strategy
That's what I'm
against
saying.
you, I've already lost.
Well, who knows?
It's like if you have
But that's-
5 cards and I have 3,
But
and I have to try to beat your 5.
There's another pinnacle race for him to take. So it would be interesting. Although, let's see, Chevy has won the last 15 years of races minus 2.
Kyle Busch is the only Toyota driver that has won at Indy, and he's won 5 times. So just be glad I didn't pick Kyle.
Huh?
All right, I gave you a shot.
I wasn't going to pick Kyle. Come on. Oh, good times. Good times. Yeah, it's completely stupid for me to pick that. Let's go, dude. New segment. Well, old segment, new name?
Old segment, new name.
Old segment, new name. In the ditch with DeGilio. We're talking about the same person. This used to be called.
We are.
This used to be called Strange with Stang, but certain life things happen, and now it is called In the Ditch with DeGilio. So I'm digging it. We may change the name. We may figure that stuff out. But she says this week, name one driver you'd want to date your sister and one that you wouldn't, and why. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I don't know. I guess I could probably go first. I actually didn't think about it at all.
Okay.
So I'm going to think in the moment.
Okay.
Which is fine. I can still go first.
Well, we'll say the yeses and the nos, and we'll switch who goes first. So,
good call.
which one do you want?
Driver that you would want to date your sister. And I'm assuming we're not worried about age here. We're just worried about what consensus of behavior is.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So is there personal attachment to this? Like what experiences you might get to have because your sister is dating this guy?
There's absolutely.
just
That's the
talking about
only reason
human
for the answer that I have.
experience.
Yeah. That's the only reason for the person that I chose was very much a personal / what do you call it? I guess me wanting something.
Okay. So, but it opens up the possibility pretty damn wide.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think in terms of getting to have some interesting personal experiences on my side, plus somebody I know that would treat my sister with respect, I'm going to go with Elliott Sadler.
Oh, cool. Okay. I like that. I would also go with Elliott, but a Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing, Chase Elliott is he also flies planes. So here's what I'm thinking.
And he flies like turbo, like jet plane.
Right. So maybe he'd take me up in one of his planes or something. I'm thinking about like Thanksgiving dinner. We all get together. They, this person gets to come over to your house with your sister. And I'm being very selfish here. Like, this is for me. This is not for my sister, right? Like, these are differences. Who can I bring over? And we're gonna talk and we're gonna have fun. Like, I'm thinking the 9. We or Chase. We get to talk about all kinds of stuff, racing, and then I can talk to him about flying, and maybe he'll take me on his plane. Here's the thing: all these guys are like multimillionaires anyway. So whoever she dates,
It's a weird question.
I'm cool with anyway. Even if I don't like him, maybe I get like a check every once in a while. All right. So for my don't want to date, I'm still thinking of the of the Thanksgiving dinner table, and I think me and Denny Hamlin would probably have a problem like relating on any level at a Thanksgiving dinner table. So I would just go with Denny. But then again, aside from the fact that my sister is married and Denny, has his girl with the kid and all that, the point is that, at the Thanksgiving dinner table, it just wouldn't be pretty. Yeah, I'd probably be bringing up like transgressions, like, Denny, what the hell was the deal with this? And then I wouldn't get the money at that point. So, He'd be like, "Hey, that's cool. I'll give you all the money you want, but your brother's getting none of it." And so now we're effed.
That's an interesting point. You definitely picked the driver that we probably like the least. I'm going to go maybe a little wander my way outside the box a little bit because the question wasn't caged well. Like, there's not a lot of rules here. So I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to say is on the no side of the coin, like just right off the top, just shave it off the top, is Kyle Petty.
Okay.
Because his wife gave birth to their daughter, and she's younger than my sister.
Okay.
And he is old enough to be my dad.
Crap. Oh, crap.
So I'm out.
No, the daughter isn't younger. The wife is younger.
Wife is younger than
your sister,
yes.
and he is, he's Kyle Petty.
33, I want to say. My sister's 35.
Oh, Lordy.
And he's 56, I think, 57, something like that.
Okay.
No Kyle Petty dating my sister.
I can dig it. All right, dude. We've been talking for forever. If anybody's still listening at this point,
there isn't one soul.
Thank you for hanging out.
Doing
this has been a blast.
7, actually. Good
let's
grief.
Do this thing.
Y'all are
awesome. We'll talk to y'all next week. We've got potentially a very, very exciting guest for next week.
I would say do your best effort on Saturday or Sunday to have a little bit of watermelon with your barbecue and give us a little positive juju.
Yeah. So potentially going to be awesome. We'll see if it happens. Y'all, you know where to find us, and we thank you so much for joining. This has been a blast. At ptmpodcast.com, at ptmpodcast on the Twitter, and on Instagram and everything else. Y'all know where to find us. And as always, I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace at Tailgate Mayor.
And I'm Andrew Sherwin at Pregame Engineer and at Andrew L. Sherwin on the IG.
Excellent. We're looking forward to next week. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fast. We'll be talking Indy, and we'll talk to y'all then. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, we'll be talking playoff previews.
Yes.
All the noise, redneck. Unite. NASCAR, we are NASCAR.
Stop. Okay. Good times, y'all.
Touchdown!
Touchdown, Jesus. Wait, am I allowed to say that? I don't even know.
Probably.
Probably.
I don't know. Who knows what people are going to get pissed at anymore?
I know, right?
People are burning Nikes.
Burning
like
Nike.
a very small sector because...
Yeah. Or for
we
the
won't get into
Kaepernick.
that on the YouTube.
No, for the Kaepernick thing. Yeah. It's funny. I did hear a what was the term that I read earlier today?
It was Travis is an idiot. Was that one of them?
No, it wasn't. It was. Shoot, what was it? It was woke washing. And so,
oh my God,
I thought it was interesting. Wow, this is going to be straight into the ditch. But there's something called greenwashing, where companies like act like they're all green, and hey, look at us, we're all like NASCAR green, for example.
They throw all their trash in a ditch somewhere.
Right. And so their marketing team is like, look how green we are. You know, we recycle our paper, and then in the background they're just burning oil in the backyard.
Pouring oil on the paper and just touching it off.
Right. And so woke washing is the marketing team being like, look how progressive we are, and then in the background being like, we're just setting babies on fire. So I saw that today as a critique of that whole thing, and it was a critique from I would say a progressive writer. So I thought it was interesting. There you go. There's your rusty politics
I won't
of the
get
day.
too deep on it. The only thing I would say is, no matter how you believe or whatever you do, is like this. It's not our team versus your team when it comes to this stuff. It's all right. How do we figure out how we're the same? How do we figure out how we're different? And how do we operate in a space where we can coexist and like enjoy each other's company?
Right.
Like you and I don't agree on all. There's a lot of shit we don't agree on.
Right.
But we figured out how to operate in a space of, hey, man, these are things we don't talk about. Or we say, hi, I'd like to preface this topic where you debate me with it, and I promise we won't kill each other.
Right. Let's.
That's all it is. That's all you have to do is be a freaking adult about it.
Yep. All right, y'all. Y'all be adults or be kids. We don't even care.
Be kids when it's having fun. Be adults when it's time to be an adult.
We will talk to y'all next week. Be sure to tune in. It's bound to be a very, very positive episode. If we can make all the stars align, it's going to be awesome. So we'll talk to y'all then.
Yes.
Peace out.
Thank you so much.